From the land of sky blue waters, welcome to the Sota Pod. Isha Reviews here alongside Seth Toupal, and I thank you all for joining wherever and whenever you are listening. We got an action-packed episode here today, ladies and gentlemen, starting with the Hoppy Hour, which we will jump to in a moment. And then we have a ton of hockey talk, Minnesota Wild talk, NHL talk, and world hockey news. Some crazy news in the world of hockey, ladies and gentlemen, overseas in Russia. But first, let's jump to the Hoppy Hour here, ladies and gentlemen. And the Hoppy Hour is brought to you by our friends at Northland Vodka. Northland Vodka is the best damn vodka on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. They're an amazing local company, great people. Mark Parrish and the gang are so awesome to work with. And like I say on every episode, just have an unbelievable product. They're in pretty much every liquor store in the Twin Cities now, ladies and gentlemen. And Mark Parrish and the crew are doing a lot of signings and appearances at various events and local liquor stores as well. So don't forget to follow them on social media to stay tuned for those announcements. A percentage of every sale goes back into the local hockey, goes back into the community as well. So what are you waiting for? Go pick up some Northland Vodka today. Northland Vodka, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. Again, Hoppy Hour on the other side, then some hockey talk. Hope you all listening had a great Mother's Day weekend. Mwah. Love you, Mom. Shout out to all the mothers out there. Shout out to all the grandmothers out there. We love you, and I hope you all had a special Sunday and a special weekend. Okay, enough introductions. Let's get to the first segment of the show here. Let's get to the Hoppy Hour here on the Sota Pod.
First, I'd like to propose a toast to UMD goaltender Alex Stalock. To Stalock! To Stalock!
I love that stuff. Been drinking it for years. You know, I heard they recently decided to add more hops to it.
You're all hopped out?
On the ground, no shade in the creek bed, and I lay my fears down, they won't go nowhere. Love is an echo under the corn snow. Memories are the road, they're lost in the woods.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Hoppy Hour here on the Sota Pod. And this week, we're trying Phil Kessel's favorite beer.
Good one, Randy. Good one.
Alright, it's not a hot dog flavored beer. We're going to New Glarus to test out and try their IPA. Now, I know everybody here in Minnesota, everybody in Wisconsin raves. Shoot, I bet even everybody in Chicago raving about the Spotted Cow, and it's good, okay? We'll do a review on the Sota Pod, we'll do a review on the channel for Spotted Cow eventually. Like I said, I might kind of do what the You Betcha guy did, except not next to a Busch Light, but maybe compared to a Hamm's. My Busch Light of choice, per se. But we're going to try the IPA here. Now, this brewery is very good. Upon trying the Spotted Cow, did the hype deliver? No. But it was a very good beer. Like, it was definitely above your average beer. Will the IPA impress me more than the Spotted Cow? Impress me more than the other IPA that I had at New Glarus? Let's find out. Bottle, not can here. Employee owned.
good tone to it. I mean, it looks like a nice, refreshing IPA. Cheers, everybody. Ooh. Oh! That is good. That is very good. God damn. What is in this thing? 60 IBU, okay. 6.7%. Oh, it's got a bite to it. It's got that bitter bite to it. This is good. This is good. It's a little bit, like I said, it's got a bite to it. It's a little bit bitter. It's a little bit, piney's the wrong word because it doesn't taste like a West Coast, but it kind of drinks like one because there is a bite to it and it lingers a little bit. Smooth when it hits the tongue, but then you get a rush of what you'd want in an IPA, right? This isn't a hazy IPA, though it's smooth and a little sweet upon hitting the tongue. After, you don't get hit with that like West Coast pine bite right away. It kind of lingers, and then you get that, on your tongue as it stays. After you take the sip, after you put down the glass and bottle, it kind of lingers, and that's where you get that. I mean, some people might describe this as piney. I've drank enough West Coast IPAs to just call this a little bit of bitterness, or a bite, as I've been saying. Coming in at 6.7%, 60 IBU. It's a good balance. This is Brewmaster Dan's riff on the American IPA tradition. There's definitely a little bit of German influence in this as well, as it's very complex and there's a lot more to it than just your simple American IPA, but this is wonderful, man. This is wonderful. I like more bitter, more piney IPAs, right? Like, I'm more on the West Coast side of things. Though this isn't a West Coast IPA, and though it doesn't smack you in the face right away, right off the hop, it's got like the best of both worlds. It's got the best of both worlds. I imagine anything from New Glarus costs you an arm and a leg, and you can only get them there. They aren't easily accessible outside of Wisconsin. But I really like this. Do I like it more than the Spotted Cow? I don't know. They're very different. They're very different. I'd have to do them next to each other, but even then, two different styles. But before I give my rating, let's see what you, the people on Untapped, have to say. Let me snap a quick picture. Say cheese. Again, for any beer drinkers out there, if you want to follow me on Untapped, please do so. It's the same as my Twitter handle, @VI Sports Talk. Alright, so you, the people, have described this beer as piney, clean, herbal, grassy, and malty. 5,000 people have checked in to drink this beer. 22 average check-ins a month. For a beer that's not widely distributed, man, this is popular amongst the locals. And, drumroll please, you all rate this a 3.7 average rating out of 5. It's described to be immensely drinkable at 60 IBU. This harmonious IPA was built to partner with Food and Friends, a legacy combination of old school American hops with lively German and American newbies. Of course, dry hopping capulates this unique boutique to your nose, golden blonde, camouflage, and substantial 6.75 ABV. Like I said in the opening segment, Brewmaster Dan's riff on the American IPA tradition. Now, I do not get any herbal/floral notes at all. For me, there's a little sweetness. It's a little sweet and crisp right when you drink it. Smooth, I like that because surprisingly smooth for how much of almost a bitter taste it leaves on the tongue. Smooth, sweet, flavorful, and then you get that bite. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that it's grassy. It's definitely malty. So I'll rate malty, sweet, smooth, and bitter, honestly, because there is that bitterness at the end. So that's what I would describe it as. And what am I going to rate it as? Again, giving anything a 4 out of 5 on Untapped means it has to be one of the best beers you ever had. Like, no one gives a 5 out of 5. No one gives like a 4.5 out of 5. The highest rating I've ever seen was a 4.2, okay? And that was for one of the best barrel-aged beers I've ever had, if not the greatest beer that I've ever had on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very enjoyable IPA. It's a mix of both styles that I love, and especially the West Coast style that is near and dear to my heart. One more taste and I'll give my rating. 3.2. 3.2 out of 5. It's good. It's great. But it's so hard to find. It's not easily accessible, and it'll cost you an arm and a leg for 6-packs. So that deducts a couple points. Maybe if I could go pick this up, it would be a solid 3 out of 3.5, but I'm giving it a 3.2. It's great. I don't really have any issues with it, other than I can probably get something as complex, as enjoyable locally for a better price. Thanks to my roommate Joe for sharing one of these with me. New Glarus is definitely an experience. And also shout out to Brian and Brittany, who tried to send me a New Glarus care package, and the assholes at UPS drank all of the beer. If you like these beer reviews, if you like these hoppy hours, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what beers you want me to review next, what style of beer you want me to dive into next, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers!
If anything, though, I think the Spotted Cow is better than the IPA. I got to do a Spotted Cow and Hams side-by-side review. Much like the You Betcha guy did the Bush and Spotted Cow review. One of his first videos I think he ever posted on the channel. Anyways, before we bring Seth on here, because he's been waiting in the wings, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a big shout out to our friends at 7th Avenue Pizza. Guys, you can find the best frozen pizza, not only in the great state of Minnesota, but on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. You will never have to eat Domino's again. I am helping you because Domino's is trash. It's garbage. I don't want you guys to put yourself through torture anymore. And we have the solution. That solution is 7th Avenue Pizza, ladies and gentlemen. Throw that Domino's pizza in the garbage and go get you some 7th Avenue pizza today. Right now, they have sales at Jerry's Foods for $7.99. You can also find them at Hy-Vee, Lunds and Byerly, and more. If you want to know where you can pick them up, go check out 7th Ave Pizza on social media. Hit them up on X, Facebook, Instagram. They're super responsive. Matt and the crew are amazing people. They're an awesome local company, which is why we love working with them. And honestly, it's my favorite pizza in the world. It is the best pizza in the world. You never have to eat Domino's pizza again. You will thank me. You will thank me. I'm doing you a favor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing you a favor. I'm adding years back on your life. Hit up 7th Avenue Pizza. And Matt, if you have any questions on what events they're going to be hosting, what events they're going to be appearing at, and where you can find them locally if they're on the shelves of your grocery store of preference. 7th Avenue Pizza, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. All right, Seth Toupal on the other side. We got a ton of hockey talk for you guys here on this episode of the Sota Pod. And we're back for another hockey segment, and it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one. Seth and I, we generally go like, an hour, 20 minutes on these hockey segments, but there really is not much to talk about Wild-wise. I was going to go over the segment that we did on Locked On Wild, just kind of go through it quickly. But you know what? I'm just going to say, guys, go check it out on Locked On Wild. My last appearance, the last Friday episode, was it? Friday episode?
Thursday for Friday.
Thursday episode for Friday. There you go.
Yeah.
Go back and check it out as we rated every first round pick from the Minnesota Wild. And it was a really fun exercise. And yeah, it was a great show. Go check that out. I want to hear if you guys agree with me or not. I'll add a couple clips in this podcast just to tease it, Seth, and to show some of my controversial picks. So if you guys want to see more of both of our picks, and honestly some good conversation around the matter as well and how we ranked them, as we didn't just go the guys who did the best with the Wild, we did the guys who are still doing good in Brett Burns, so it was fun. It was fun. So go check that out as I appear on Locked On Wild every week for either the Thursday or Friday episode.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because I have a similar topic for this week picked out.
Sweet. Which, by the way, as we plan again live here on a podcast /live stream, Wednesday, because Thursday
Yes.
I will be gone.
Wednesday's perfect.
Let's do it. Can't wait. The summer content's going to be elite. Well, it already is elite. So there you go. We do have a little bit of wild talk. It's just basically to react and kind of respond to a narrative that's being pushed by other media. Let's just say blogs, some fans on social media. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about how Team USA essentially lost to the Minnesota Wild in their first game of the IIHF World Championship. There's some other NHL-wide news. And then there's honestly a development in the Ivan Fedatov story that we thought, had a bow wrapped on it a few months ago, Seth. I honestly think that was the first episode that we collaborated together, locked on Sota Pod. We talked about Fedatov, and now there's, like I said, there's more to it, and I did not expect it at the time of this recording, Sunday evening, to see that this was new news coming out today. That is Sunday morning. So all that, let's dive into it, starting with the wild talk here now. Like I said, there is a narrative out there right now that Mitch Marner's time with the Toronto Maple Leafs might be coming to an end. And it's not because he's a bad player. If anything, he's a fucking superstar. He's one of the many superstars on the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the Shannon plan, it just didn't seem to work. Sometimes you can have the most talented players on a team and they just can't get it done. Look at those New York Rangers teams in the early 2000s. Theo Fleury, Mark Messier, just star after star after star as well. I mean, I know I just named two guys, but if you go and check out those teams, I think it was like 2000 to 2003. Absolute studs. And those Rangers teams missed the playoffs, man. Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it just doesn't work, right? And the Toronto Maple Leafs have had great seasons. They've made the playoffs, but when you exit the first round that many times, when you get past the first round and get absolutely bludgered in the second round, there's just, and I hate to say it, but maybe just not enough dog for those in that young core. You know what I mean? In that young core. So anyways, long of the short of it, Mitch Marner is seemingly going to be on the block. That's the name that the Toronto Maple Leafs probably can, I don't want to say easily move, but move and get the best return for. It's going to be hard to move John Tavares at this stage in his career, despite him still being good. Willie Nylander, well, I imagine they're going to try, I think with everything that went on with him this season, they're locked in with him. He might be on the move, but I don't know. Matthews, do you walk away from just like one of the faces of the National Hockey League who's one of the best two-way players and goal scorers in the league right now? No, Mitch Marner's the odd superstar out. He's the odd superstar out. And there are some Minnesota Wild publications here locally and a fraction of the fan base, Seth, on social media, who think the Wild, can and should acquire Mitch Marner. I have some notes on the matter, but what is your reaction to that news that's now weirdly gaining some traction?
I mean, Marner is a good player. Like, he's
a superstar. He's a very good player.
Let's just get that out of the way first. He had 85 points in 69 games this year, 99 the previous year, 97 the year before that. He's a proven commodity at the NHL level. But the thing that worries me, and this could be, this isn't all accredited to him, but in this past postseason, he had 1 goal and 2 assists in the 7 games. And if you're looking for somebody to add to this Minnesota Wild mix, like if he played, I don't know, a bona fide, like legit center role, like if he excelled at the center position, I'd say go for it. But it just isn't something. I'm trying to think of the way to put this politely.
Doesn't have the dog in him.
Well, exactly.
Not a clutch player.
He doesn't have some of those tangibles. But if you look at your depth chart for the Minnesota Wild, like you have hopes that somebody is going to be able to take what would likely be his spot on the roster. I mean, if you acquire him and it doesn't cost you Matt Boldy,
which it would,
it probably would. I don't know.
They would ask first, we want Kaprizov straight up. Okay, that's not going to happen. And I said just because like they're in the same tier, right? Like Mitch Marner coming in, he's going to be, okay, you have another player of Kaprizov's tier on your team. Because let's be honest, and Boldy might get there one day, but he's not there yet, even though he's a point per game player. Marner is a 3-time 90-plus point player. And when he plays under 82 games, he's over point per game player, right? Like 67 points in 59 games. Like, he's proven that, again, throughout the regular season. Like, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. But in the playoffs, he's streaky. There's some years where, this one being the worst, 3 points in 7 games, like you said. There's years like last year, he had 14 points in 11 games, 8 and 7 the year before, but 4 and 7 all assists the year before that, right? So it's kind of streaky in that way.
I'm worried that Toronto's ask would be Faber, because you look at their decor, they have Morgan Riley, and they have like 3-4 guys that are locked in for sure on that decor. Morgan Riley is one of their alternate captains. He's locked in for 6 years. Beyond that, they got just kind of a bunch of guys. I'm worried that would be the ask if you're trying to get a guy of Marner's caliber. And to be honest,
the Wild would have to still pay. They'd have to give Faber and something else. Honestly.
It wouldn't even be like outrageous for Toronto to ask that because of how good Mitch Marner is. No, it would be Marner. It would be Faber and some. It'd be like Faber and a pick, or Faber and one of the whatever prospects or something like that. And that's not to like diminish Faber at all. It's just like he's had 1 year. Okay. Like Marner is bona fide superstar. Faber has come into the league and had a superstar season as far as being a defenseman goes, and top rookie year and everything. But no, you're right. And so that comes back to some of what I wrote here. Like, the Wild would have to dismantle a chunk of their prospect pool, or give up one of their top guys, one of their pillar pieces that they're building around. Mm-hmm. And if they go the multiple piece route, like I would say Boldy, a first round pick or 2, and then throw in 2 top prospects, a Riley height 100%, and maybe Urov as well. Like, those are going to be, or they'll want, Boldy, Volstedt, a first round pick, and what, like, that's going to be the asking price. And somebody would be like, come on, this isn't an NHL video game. Dude, this is Mitch Marner we're talking about. Now, Seth and I are highlighting that, like, one of the reasons why he's going to be one of the odd men out. And that's assuming that the Toronto Maple Leafs do bring Willie Nylander back, because they haven't re-signed him yet, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, they did.
Okay, they did. Okay.
Yeah, he's locked in. He goes up to 11.5 next year, and he's signed every year.
Oh, there it is. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot, dude. I literally had Cap Friendly up, but I just didn't scroll down long enough because I have my fucking screen zoomed in. Oh my God. Thank you, by the way. Jesus Christ, I'm such an idiot.
That's the other part of it too, is that
okay, so it has to be Mitch Marner. There you go. Sorry guys.
Marner's got one more year on his deal, and so therefore you need to retain some salary. If you need to do anything along those lines, that's the most palatable to do it. And so it's nothing against him as a player, but it's just of the 3. And it does feel like Brad Treliving's, his press conference after the season was done, 100% feels like they are going to be making some sort of a move, because he basically said we need to be better at doing some of the things that aren't flashy, which is what you hear a lot of teams discuss after they get bumped in the playoffs. Is you need to be tougher, you need to be more just able to kind of absorb punches and get back up.
Well, and you're gonna throw all this at Toronto for a guy whose contract's up the next year? Like, it'd have to be like a sign and trade, and then that's another, or you know what I mean? So then that's just or like agree on, handshake deal on him signing upon acquiring him. And that's just a whole other element. Like, as much as it's crazy that I'm saying this, it's not worth bringing in this 100-point player.
It just creates a lot of different scenarios that you have to play through, and you don't really have the ability to do this right now. Like, if this was 2 years from now or 2 years ago, I'd say absolutely. I'd say absolutely go for it. But where it's at right now, it is a very complicated acquisition, because you would have to move.
That's it. It's complicated.
You'd have to move salary off the books. You would have to throw top tier prospects at Toronto, and you would have to then you would basically have to have an assurance that he was going to stay after his current deal was done.
Yeah, and you're and he's signing 7 years, right? Like he's this ain't no like Mitch Marner's 28 years old. He's gonna fucking cash in, baby. So
yeah, it's just, I mean, if you're willing to do all the things that it would be required to do it, go for it. But it's just too complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had like the Wild have such a good prospect pool right now. I know that some of these guys are gonna pop, dude. I know it.
Yeah,
I know it. And like we got a draft coming up this year. Judd Brackett's gonna keep filling up the cabinets, man. So like in Judd we trust. Stay in the lane. We got a plan, and honestly, I'm trusting in this plan more than Toronto's Shanna plan. Let's not bring failed Shanna plan pieces over. All right. Let's stay in our lane.
Stay the course.
Yeah. Speaking of the Minnesota Wild, Seth, Team USA at the IIHF World Championship, which by the way, have iced a tremendous team this year. They lost to the Minnesota Wild. Team USA. The Wild beat them. I mean Sweden. Sorry, Sweden.
Marcus Johansson even had an assist, if I saw correctly.
Marcus Johansson had an assist. Eriksson Ek had 2 goals. Wallstedt was on the bench as the backup, and Gustafsson 28 saves. And honestly, this is actually really good for Gustafsson. Get some of that confidence and mojo back, especially if Sweden goes far in this tournament and it's on his back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like this will be something that gets talked about on Locked on Wild probably early this week. Philip Gustafsson, Matt Boldy especially, I think can pull a lot from this tournament. Like the fact that Matt Boldy is playing top line minutes for Team USA is great. And Philip Gustafsson is getting an opportunity to go up against some top level talent. And so if he shines against those players, like that's good for him too.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, a lot of the teams are really competitive. A lot of the teams are really competitive this year. So
just nice to have a little bit of a little compliment to the elite playoff hockey we've gotten for the last month plus.
Yeah, I'm just so happy. As we record this, I'm watching the Edmonton and Vancouver game, and that goal just got called off. So I can take a deep breath, Seth. By the way, again, as we teased the last Locked On episode that I was on, Seth, as we rated the top draft picks, or the top first round draft picks anyways, were there any that surprised you of my picks? Was there any in particular that you were like, oh, snap, didn't expect them to land there?
I think Eriksson Ek probably was the biggest one for me.
I put him at 4, right?
I think you had him at 3.
Oh, shit.
And it was more so like I expected that he'd be up near the top of the list, but I didn't expect him. I didn't think I expected him to be that high on your list, but I love the reasoning behind it. And it just goes to show you how good he has done at building up his skill set. Like he's better than what we have had with a bunch of those different centers on that list. And he does, I think, a lot of the same defensive things that Koivu does, but he's a 30-goal scorer. Mikko Koivu never did that.
Bro, Mikko Koivu was not in the shape that Mr. September is in all year round.
No, he is a specimen.
Yeah. You got to imagine that all the boys are like, Ek, please leave your tarps on because we want to look like we have good physiques. And
don't want to get embarrassed here.
Yeah, and if you do, then we're all going to look like we're all going to look like Patty Maroon.
It's just, it's so fun to have one of those guys. And somebody in the comment section on Locked On, I was just kind of getting caught up after the weekend, was saying that Boldy and Ek kind of got into it during that game.
Yeah, no, they did. They did.
And
Which is good. And Ek was staring him down. Ek gave him that look. That look that he gives everybody who calls him, one of the most hated players to play against, right? One of the, not necessarily, I mean, obviously he's one of the harder players to play against, but there's a lot of guys who say that like my least favorite player to play against is Eriksson Ek.
Ek's got a little Kobe to him. Like if you're even my best friend and we are going up against each other in a competition, like I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was like, it was the difference between MJ and Kobe in that like Kobe wanted to destroy you, or MJ just wanted to win more than anything, right? Whereas Kobe wanted to, like, I don't want to say do it in style, but like beat the person. Jordan wanted to win the game more than anything.
Kobe wanted to make it. Kobe wanted to make it like a personal statement. Yeah.
Whereas Jordan only tapped into that a few times when he had to. Whereas like, Jordan, it was like, I'm just going to be the best at whatever I'm doing, right?
Yeah. He tapped into it when provoked. Kobe had that on all the time.
Yeah. Legends, man. Legends.
Absolutely.
Let's do just a quick little update here on the, as I begrudgingly do so, on the PWHL playoffs. Minnesota down 2 games to the Toronto hockey team. Yes, that is literally their name. In this 5-game series, as this drops on Monday, if you're listening to this Monday morning, you can check out the games for free on YouTube, by the way, where game 3, Toronto has the possibility to sweep the Minnesota hockey team. Minnesota hasn't even scored a goal yet in the series. It's been rough, man. It's been rough.
Well, if any team is going to be able to get up off the mat and make something happen, it's Minnesota. They need an opportunity to kind of get back and get right, and just go take game 3.
I was like, Seth, what are you talking about? This is Minnesota sports. The T-Wolves are going down. The PWHL team is going down. How have the Twins been playing?
Honestly, they've been doing okay.
All right. Well, at least we have the Twins, right? At least we have the Twins.
Nobody can watch them, though.
Oh, my. I'm not going to lie. I actually feel a little sad that none of you guys, you, Alex, Brett, Hoppy, none of you guys saw the picture that I posted on Twitter, because Bally Sports changed their banner on their Twitter account, and it said something in the effect of like "watch us everywhere" or something like that. And and basically I reposted the picture, and it was like crossed off the watch, like with an X, just a single marker of the us, and then like something else for the everywhere, like circled with like a question mark, and it was like Bally Sports, watch us somewhere or something like that. Anyway, it was a good tweet. Okay, long and short, it was a good tweet. None of you guys saw it, so.
That poor
I was a little hurt. I'm not gonna lie.
Poor admin of their Twitter account. Like,
oh god. Ugh. Well, I mean, they've easily blocked Brett like already, and I love Brett for that. But yeah, anyway, so game 3 tonight, Monday night. If you guys are listening to this, hopefully they at this point, I'm just hoping they get a fucking goal, man. Toronto beat them 4-0 in the first game, 2-0 in the second. Let's hope that Minnesota gets 1 goal. And I mean, it was an awesome inaugural season for just the league as a whole. But, the Minnesota team did pretty good. They started off strong, kind of tapered towards the end there. But let's hope with an actual logo and a name that we can come together back for a strong season. And I truly think that this league is going to go places, man. It's awesome. Like I always said, weird. You add hitting, you add body checking in women's hockey, and people are gonna watch. Also, they put it on YouTube, which is fucking perfect for them.
That also helps tremendously.
Yeah. But it's such a good product, Seth. Like, it's good hockey, and these women, like, women's hockey, low key is aggressive because hockey is aggressive. But the fact that you can actually like lay some checks, man, like finally people are getting Marie-Philippe Poulin off the puck in Montreal, right? Like in the IIHF, you can't touch this woman, dude. In this league, like she's still crushing it, but she's not invincible, and that's like one of the best Canadian hockey players right now, women's hockey players. So yeah, I haven't watched as much as I feel like I should have or wanted to this season, but I watched enough when it was on to at least get me excited for next year when it takes a step forward.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what they do for building blocks. Do they add more teams? Do they, there are going to be a lot of options on the table for what they choose to do.
Starting with logos and names.
Yeah, that'd be a good place. It'd be a good place to begin.
Speaking of logos and names, Utah, the NHL Utah hockey team. I love the black hoodies that they were all wearing. That just like Locked On Wild got more creative than the NHL with the NHL Utah hockey team on those black hoodies. Which, hey, shout out to the Utah hockey fans though, Seth. This happened so fast. Draft party, like just how welcoming they have been to the team and how excited that fan base is for this. It's truly incredible because it came out of nowhere. I thought Houston was the next destination. I had no idea that there was this much of a buzz for an NHL team in Utah, but I guess they're a good sports market, right?
Yeah, and there was, I forget the exact wording of the sign, but there was a shot in like an elementary school, and a kid had a sign that said, "I don't care about school, I care about hockey."
Oh,
it's like,
let's go.
I like where that's at.
I like that too. And kind of like the Avs, like it's going to be a hard place to play with the elevation teams coming through to visit them. So it's just going to be another interesting market there, both on the ice and there's Utah. They have sports fans, man. They show up for, I know, combat sporting events on the boxing side and the MMA side. They obviously have the Utah Jazz. There's a history of Olympic and international hockey play in that region as well. So yeah, man. I'm actually getting a little excited about this. It's not quite like expansion buzz, but it's something new, right? It's something new. And so back to the name here. As much as I wanted Seattle to be the Seattle, what was it? The bitch pigeons, the rainy bitch pigeons, and that was obviously not going to happen. That
would have been amazing.
There's a Twitter account about it. The Storm and Mormons, Seth, I don't think is gonna. I'm just looking to confirm that the bitch pigeon. Yeah. Oh, the Rain City bitch pigeons, Seth. The Rain City bitch pigeons.
That's
as much as I wanted that to be the Seattle team, that Kraken's okay. And that's what I kind of compare to the Storm and Mormons. Now, I really want there to be a Twitter account to come out, Storm and Mormons, kind of like the Rain City bitch pigeons. I can't believe you didn't see this, by the way. I'm sharing it on screen right now. They're still operational to this day. The jersey and everything. Look at the logo here. This is incredible.
I am going to need at least the jersey. Make a sweatshirt. Rain jacket would be...
Oh my God, even better.
Be elite.
So anyways, Storm and Mormon, it's off the table, even though I want it there. Between these four suggestions here, these four options here, Seth, which one do you like the most? Because these are the ones that the Utah hockey team have put out to their fans in a survey. The Utah Mammoths, the Utah Frost, and not Mammoths, by the way. They're really going hard on these fucking single names. The Utah Mammoth, which Frost, Yeti, again singular, or Glaciers, plural. Which, like, at this point, why didn't you just say Glacier?
And I'm gonna just go ahead and eliminate Glaciers immediately.
Yeah.
Because do you really want to have... I mean, I suppose it'd be kind of a fun rival for the Avalanche, but...
There's already one there. It's the same shit.
Just go with the Yetis. You could do
the
some really...
Yeti or the Yetis. That's the thing. They want it singular, which, oh, man.
No.
The Wild works because it's not a thing.
Yeah.
What did you say prior to recording? It's a state of mind.
Yeah, it's not a physical... It's not a physical entity. It's like it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
I don't know.
No, but when you said state of mind, I was like, totally.
Yeah.
So that works, but Mammoth, Yeti, it has to be it has to be plural. Sorry, you're a team. I feel like
it's got to be the Yeti. You could do some really fun things with the mascot.
Oh man, Frost. Frost is interesting. Frost is. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I feel like Frost could grow on me. And they could do a lot of cool things with the logo too with that.
You could
Simple,
have
but
you could have Jack Frost be your mascot.
my brain didn't even go there, but now that's all I can think of. So never mind. Frost off the table.
Yeah, we're done.
If it's plural, I'm down with Yetis. Mammoths is too corny. Now some people might be like, Yetis, isn't that too corny too? I mean, fuck, we have an octopus as a kraken, dude. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see, like Kraken I get because it's more of the Kraken itself is more of like a mythical
I guess
figure.
So. Yeah, but you mean the Yeti, is that not a mythical figure?
Well,
as
yeah,
well?
but I was more so going with like as a talking point for mammoth, because it's like
because it's just an
animal.
It's just
like,
an extinct animal.
Yeah, they fell in a tar pit. Like, do you really want?
Mammoths are extinct, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're trying to bring them back, and I can just not emphasize enough how bad of an idea that is.
Dude, it's like bringing back the dinosaurs. That's like Elon being like, you know what? We're just gonna like 3D print this like Velociraptor, and it'll be chill, bro. Like we're not gonna recreate Jurassic Park. Like we'll be fine.
They're doing like the DNA splicing shit, and
they're straight up going Jurassic Park.
It's like I don't know if I would do that.
You know what's crazy?
Wouldn't.
Is like when we were kids growing up watching Jurassic Park, like we watched it knowing that like this is a movie, it can't be real. But dude, like this shit, they might actually make this real in our lifetime.
It's like, oh yeah, this will never happen, and now we're like, oh boy, they might have predicted the future here.
Yeah, which honestly is more terrifying because Back to the Future didn't hit on it. Their vision of the future is a lot different than what it turned out to be. Let's just say that.
They went a little out there, a little too out there, at least.
Yeah, we still have frozen pizzas. They don't come in a little.
Cubs never. Well, the Cubs did win the World Series, but not in the year that they predicted they would.
No, but I remember the year they did predict that. We were watching the Cubs that year. I was watching the Cubs that year. I even was like, this sports almanac.
Is this gonna happen?
Yeah. Which, by the way, like I would have done the same thing Biff did if I found that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%. I would have bet on Tim Thomas to come out of the forest and take the heads off the Canucks there in 2011. I would have done it all.
You'd be stupid not to. Just throw a little bit down and then like get it to your future self. It's like, hey, turns out he's a billionaire.
It's make like a tree and leave, you moron. Back to the Future, honestly, I think is my favorite trilogy of all time.
It's got some good staying power to it.
And like Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars, I think the second one is my favorite, which is honestly a hot take because a lot of people think that the third one, because it's so different, and it was good. It was good. The first one, just because like it's not as hokey as the second one, but I like the second one because it calls back to the first one, right?
Yeah,
which is super cool.
You see that periodically where a trilogy, the second movie will be the one that really gets the steam because the directors get confident after what they did with the first movie. The second movie, they're like, all right, I want to explore this. I want to go this route. They explore the space a little bit better.
Where we're going, we don't need roads. All right, so Yeti, is that what we're landing on here?
I think so.
Right,
I think that's the official Sota Pod Lockdown Wilds leader in the clubhouse.
All right. Now I gotta commission someone on Fiverr to give us some better designs than what the NHL is gonna throw our way, so that we can take credit for having the better one first, like the Rain City bitch pigeons over the Kraken. Oh man. So the Ottawa Senators, Seth, actually didn't hire former head coach of the Minnesota Wild, Dean Evason. They went with Travis Green instead, which, by the way, this flew under my radar towards the end of the season here. I totally forgot, or again, didn't even really notice, let alone forget, that he took over as the head coach of the New Jersey Devils the end of this season. He was an associate coach for them last year. And with the firing of Lindy Ruff, he took the reins towards the end of the season. I knew that when I read it again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember reading that. But like, I read it and then just kind of moved on with my life when the news happened. I didn't really give it much thought at all. So that's why I totally forgot about it. And good on him for going and hitting the quote unquote free agency as a coach and getting, a better position given his now resume. He's not just a new coach anymore. He was a head coach for the Vancouver Canucks. He was an associate coach of the New Jersey Devils. He took over the head coach there, and I'm sure they wanted to keep him because everything's familiar with him. The guys knew him. But to start fresh with Ottawa, I think is a good fit. I feel like Ottawa, despite their young core not really meeting the expectations that I think a lot of us have put on them so far, they are a lot further along than the Canucks were when he was the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. As head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, they were still in limbo at that time. Are we really moving forward with the rebuild? Are we still in win now mode, the Aquilini way? Whereas with the Ottawa Senators, there's a clear direction. It's like we have the pieces now who are developing. We need someone to, get those horses to run. You know what I mean? So I really, really like this opportunity for Travis Green. Now, again, he was the head coach for the Utica Comets of the AHL. They were the affiliate team of the Vancouver Canucks between 2013 and 2016, where he lost in the finals and in the first round in his 4-year tenure with them before he had 1 year as the head coach and 2 years as the assistant coach in the WHL, coaching the Portland Winterhawks, where he won the championship with them as a head coach in 2013 before taking that Utica job, and then obviously spent how many years with the Canucks? 1, 2, 3, 4 years of the 4 full years with the Vancouver Canucks, where he made one playoff appearance and lost in the second round that bubble season. I don't know. Thoughts on this, Seth? I know Travis Green a little bit more, given that he was a head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. He was a former National Hockey League player, played almost 1,000 games in the league. One of those top guys who came out of junior who was super flashy, who had to kind of like a Sam Bennett, who had to become more of a shutdown player, a bottom six player to stay in the league. So I feel like that's probably why he connects with players too as a coach. But thoughts on this when you heard the news?
It's interesting because he, in his presser, in his introductory press conference, talked a lot about the notion of accountability and holding the players accountable, putting them in good positions to succeed. And I think he represents a good opportunity to just try to get the most out of this roster. It's a very talented roster, as you said. It's just, it feels like they just need some direction, and they need to be, I think, held accountable when things go well and when things don't. So it's interesting that, he used the opportunity in New Jersey to kind of build up his resume, so to speak. And
enough where he could be like, bye, bitch.
Yeah, I'm out. Did you see that Sheldon Keefe is going to be interviewing with the Devils now too?
Oh, I mean, that's a good move for the Devils.
Oh yeah, you'd be foolish not to, at least, whether or not you hire Sheldon Keefe, you'd be foolish to at least not interview him.
Well, what's next for Dino then? Where's he stopping at?
Russo has been on the Seattle train because him and Ron Francis have some history.
Yep. From their Hartford Whalers days.
Feels like that would be a good fit, because
I like that.
The whole Kraken, the Kraken, to me, I envision like gritty, kind of grungy sailors out at sea in like a rainstorm.
You've never been to Seattle, clearly.
Toe to toe against like a Kraken. And that feels like if you're going to have a captain for that type of whatever, that Dean would be perfect for that.
Dude, that analogy is so beautiful, Seth. And I hate to burst the bubble, but like Seattle's just full of a bunch of fucking tech nerds and hipsters.
It's worth a try.
Like, exactly, beautiful. And I wish that was the truth. Now, just north of the border, it's a little bit more plaid wearing, Canadian ass lumberjack, kind of more vibe to that. No, but in all seriousness, I really like Dean Evason to the Kraken as well. I think adding a little bit more, I think his system honestly might actually help there, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not going to go on deaf ears, or not even deaf ears, but it's not going to be played out like it was here in Minnesota, where it worked in the beginning and then he didn't want to make any adjustments. Now, maybe making that adjustment to fit his system a little bit with what the Kraken have would be good. So yeah, I would like that.
Well, and especially after some of the Hackstall stuff that came out, that there were key players for the Kraken who were basically like, we're not playing for Hackstall. If he's back next season, it feels like they're going to need to go get somebody who is, and not that Hackstall wasn't, but somebody who is a proven like players coach.
Someone who's going to fucking punch the fucking.
And Dean is that.
Yeah.
Like as much as he is a very like steely personality, he is a player's coach.
Well, he's one of the boys, dude. Yeah, he fits that like Rod Brindamore mold, that Travis Green mold as well. Like I've been there. I've been there in the trenches, you know, and I wasn't a superstar, right? Like I was
fought for everything that he got.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, personality wise, I love Dino, you know, and I never hated him as a coach here. I just thought like it was just frustrating that he didn't make the adjustments that he didn't even know he needed, right? Like he just played all his cards and it was like, I don't have anything else. I've given everything that I had. There's nothing else to give. And now you move on. Couple more things here, guys, before we hang up the skates here. Talking about the New York Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes series. I had a feeling that the Rangers weren't going to sweep. I had a feeling they weren't going to sweep. I have some Rangers fan friends who are Rangers fans who were pissed off that Rempe wasn't played in the last game, as they thought that maybe that one, just that little bit of an edge there maybe was needed. Obviously the Rangers just wanted to, they didn't want any bullshit. They just wanted to have a clean sweep of this, but the Carolina Hurricanes making it a little tough for them. Vancouver Canucks fans have been complaining about the officiating in this series. Oh boy, have the Carolina Hurricanes been given some breaks here, Seth, in this one. Now, that's not what this segment is about. I just wanted to highlight that as I go on this tangent here. What I did want to talk about is Alexis Lafreniere. Now, coming into this season, he was labeled a bust. Now, he is still and was a National Hockey League player, right? He was putting up 30, just shy of 40-point seasons. But you expect so much more being picked first overall, being picked over that of a Quinton Byfield, who's looking to be like an absolute stud with the LA Kings in his first full season, right? Alexis Lafreniere this year had a career year, Seth, and in the playoffs has been looking amazing. He put up 28 goals and 57 points this year, which is a huge jump from 16 goals last year and 39 points. And in the playoffs right now, in 8 games, he currently has 4 goals and 10 points, leading his team in playoff points. And that's up against guys who put up 120 points this year, like the Breadman, for example. So I do think Byfield should have been picked over him, because I just knew he was going to be the better player. I thought he was the better player at the time, and I just knew he'd develop into being that just all-around amazing center that you need. But I definitely think he shed the bus title this year, did he not?
Yeah, I think, and it's funny because frequent guest of Locked on Wilds, Johnny Lazarus, covers the Rangers as part of his duties for Daily Faceoff. And he's talked about Lafreniere all season in the improvement that he's made. Peter Laviolette has talked about it at length, about just the leaps and the bounds that he's taken over the course of the season. And so it's fun to see somebody who takes that big of a leap forward in the regular season carry that into the postseason. Yeah, because that, Isha, is when you know that it's not just like it's not just a bunch of different things kind of coming together to create like a good regular season. That's when you know you got something that sticks, is when that player is able to translate to postseason success. And I'd say 4 goals in 8 postseason games is postseason success.
Absolutely.
He's the fact that he's translated that just it seems like he's primed to just continue this. Like 28, who's to say he can't get 30 goals next year, 60 or 70 points? What a monster season that would be.
Yeah, and he's so young. He's 23 or 22. So absolutely. So yeah, I can't believe I'm praising a Rangers player, but good on him. Good on him. Well, sorry, a Rangers player outside Matt Rempe. All right, last thing we want to talk about here, guys, because there's been a development in a crazy story that we talked about a few months ago surrounding Philadelphia goaltender Ivan Fedatov. So let's just go through it here. The IIHF released a statement here today, Seth, the time of this recording on Sunday, early Sunday morning, banning Fedatov and his former team, CSKA Moscow, plus the RIHF, that's right, the Russian Ice Hockey Federation, for 3 years, and added further sanctions on the Russian Ice Hockey Federation. So Ivan Fedatov is essentially being banned from international play, which he's Russian right now, so it doesn't really matter. But just for context, when the Olympics come around, he will not even be able to compete as an Olympic athlete of Russia.
Jeez.
In his role for disregarding the valid contract he signed with the Flyers last season. He never reported to the Philadelphia Flyers after signing said contract, which apparently the IIHF gives a shit about given what's going on in this situation. And this is why. Why he never reported to the Philadelphia Flyers after signing that contract, coming off leading CSKA Moscow to a Gagarin Cup, the KHL championship, and the Russian team to a championship. He was arrested July 1st, 2022 for evading military service. Okay. Subsequently being enrolled in the Russian Navy after being hospitalized for stress-induced gastritis. He then played for CSKA while serving with the quote-unquote Navy. And finally this year was able to come over to North America at the end of CSKA's season and play a handful of games with the Philadelphia Flyers, which he played outstanding. So good, Seth, that they actually signed him to a 2-year extension, a 2-year deal of $6.5 million for the 2 years. So
is this a whole situation of like you can't fire me, I quit kind of a thing?
Well, you can't fire me, I quit, and you can't come get me because I'm in the United States.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If he was in Russia right now, they would have been like, we'll find something else to slap on you. This time it was evading military service. This next time it will be, something petty. Something petty. They'll find something on him, right? You walk too closely to your male friend there. That is illegal here in this part of Russia. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even like something that petty. They'll find something that small and ridiculous. So the saga should be over for Fedatov, but it's certainly not over for the Russian Ice Hockey Federation and CSKA Moscow, Seth. So just running down the sanctions here. CSKA Hockey Club, these are some of their sanctions, right? They have a 2-year ban on all international transfers. Okay, so they can't bring in international players to their team. It stops now. Like what they got here, other than domestic players, is what they got. They can't make any changes until August 10th of 2026. Fedatov is a 6-month suspension from playing at the club level, which I was diving into to see if club level meant National Hockey League, but no, that means CSKA Moscow or Russian national team games. So he has a 6-month ban from that, which again, if he just hangs around the United States and doesn't even sniff Russia again, it doesn't matter. It's moot. Fedatov is a 3-year suspension for playing in all IIHF competitions. Again, Russia's banned from international play right now, and the Belarusians are also banned due to the Ukraine war, so it doesn't really matter. But again, if they were able to play a tournament under the Olympic athletes or athletes of Russia, not under their flag, for example, he still wouldn't be allowed to play in those competitions. And finally, the RIHF is being fined 1 million Swiss francs, which is about 1.09 million USD. Which on this Reddit post that I'm looking at right now, someone put a cheeky comment under it saying approximately the cost of one sandwich at the Zurich airport.
Jeez.
But it's crazy. So it's it's essentially, what did I see here? So Fedatov, a Russian, is temporarily banned from playing in the IIHF competition from Russia, which is already indefinitely banned from competing in the IIHF events. Makes sense. But crazy that the IIHF is coming down on CSKA Moscow for basically keeping this guy hostage on their team and making him play versus him, coming back to the Philadelphia Flyers. Because he wanted to come back to Philadelphia Flyers. That was the plan. But instead, no, we're going to slap an arrest on you and keep you here and force you to play hockey for our team.
I'm glad that that kind of stuff happens overseas and that it doesn't happen here.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was trying to find. I even posted to like one of our hockey group chats, and I was like, "Hey guys, do you know if club means National Hockey League club too?" Because it wasn't defined very well, right?
Yeah.
But as I was going through some articles, Philly hockey now, and again, just like this Reddit thread it's deep, and shout out to everybody here because everyone's pretty well versed. No one's really trolling or anything here, other than that Zurich comment. But anyways, like one guy here writes, like, this is for playing with CSKA under contract with Philadelphia. Wasn't he trying to leave and then was arrested for evading military service, forcing him to stay and play for CSKA? Seems a bit unfair. Yeah, seems a bit unfair indeed. That's essentially what happened, Seth. That is essentially what happened. Again, this Redditor here, and I'll just even share it on screen for those who are watching on YouTube. Like, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. That's exactly what happened.
What a weird deal.
So yeah, this right here. This guy nailed it. But it's an awesome thread, and I encourage you guys to check it out. This were and I found the source of where this was. It was from the Philly Now hockey article, but like, man, just like on the City Life Project YouTube channel, when I do make like commentary videos on like the world of mixed martial arts, it's never on like the immediate news of what's happening in the UFC. It's like my last one, Iranian fighter kicks the ring card girl's butt and then gets jumped by the audience for being a dick. Like, it's these crazy, funky stories in the sport that I love just diving into head first. And this one is definitely funky. There's a stench to this one, Seth.
Weird shenanigans all the damn time.
Speaking of weird shenanigans, what do we got coming up on Locked On Wild this week?
Well, as I mentioned, I have, and the cool part is, like, I thought about it, and I think we're just gonna go on a run and do a bunch of rankings episodes.
Which are fun.
Our next one that we'll have is we're gonna rank free agent signings for the Minnesota Wilds, not extensions.
I'm gonna say this right now. I ain't putting Parise and Suter at number 1, guys.
No. I would hope that you wouldn't.
I might put him at 2 and 3, but we'll see.
We'll do that coming up this week. We're launching into report cards at length this week. Player report cards. Matt Boldy on tap for Tuesday, and nice. We got more draft stuff coming up. We're in full off-season mode now, and there are lots of questions to get answered.
Well, let's see if Team Sweden, Team Wild, get it done too in the World Championships. They look good in the opening round here. You know what? The thing is, USA put on a good fight against Team Sweden, 5-2. Canada beat Great Britain 4-2, which, I'm sorry, that's concerning. Yeah. They should have whooped Great Britain like 8-0 or 8-1. The fact that 2 goals got through that Canadian goaltender makes me fucking sick, Seth. Sorry to any UK listeners.
Well, that's That's like an NFL team playing a college team and only winning by a touchdown.
Yeah, dude, that's like the one. That's like Simon Fraser, the one NCAA team in Canada, Division III, even scoring one touchdown, which I don't think they ever have in franchise or in program history.
Jeez.
Yes, they've been beaten 84-0.
Oh my!
I don't know why they keep allowing them in the NCAA. Throw them in U Sport for fuck's sakes. But anyways, that's a story. Don't quote me on 84, but I know they've won by like 60 to 70 points. 80 was just like the astronomical.
They can't keep getting away with it.
Dude, no joke. There was a game that was 64-3, and I was like, why is this team even in Division III football? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yikes.
It's just because it's just this one rich school in Canada who's like, because we can, bitch, because we can. Seth, this has been amazing. Thank you so much as always. Excited to join the show Locked On Wild this Thursday.
Excited to have you back.
That's it. That is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Again, a big shout out to Seth Toupal for joining us every single week. I join him every single week on his Locked On Wild episode. So don't forget to check that out every Thursday or Friday. I appear on that show, and this last week's episode was so much fun. Big shout out to Seth for always having me on and for jumping on here. This Sota Pod and Locked On Wild collaboration has been absolutely epic. So thank you, all you listeners who've been coming over from Locked On Wild. And thank you to all our listeners who've gone and supported Seth and checked out his content as well. Really appreciate you guys. We have such a great community here, and you all are amazing. Before we wrap up the show here, I just want to give a big shout out to our friends at Better Edge, ladies and gentlemen. Better Edge, free legal betting in the great state of Minnesota and 44 other states. If you're just as excited as I was to hear that news, then go to betteredge.com/sotapod today. That's right, betteredge.com/sotapod to sign up and receive $20 on us, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, free money, $20 to play around with. If you go to betteredge.com/sotapod. Throughout the season, Hoppy and I have been hosting Minnesota Wild game day pick'em competitions. We've held brackets for the NCAA, and we'll have more fun competition and contests hosted on the platform. So that's more incentive to sign up today. Again, free legal betting in the great state of Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. How awesome is that? It is a local company as well, run by some amazing people. And that's the theme with our partners. Great people and even better products, ladies and gentlemen. If you already have used our promo, if you already have doubled your money by going to betteredge.com/sotapod and signing up, and you want more out of the platform, you can check out Better Edge Premium. Premium players have access to free entry to premium pick'em contests, order grades, advanced order filterings, API access, and more. More details at betteredge.com/premium. But if you're just signing up today, like I said, go check it out, betteredge.com/sotapod. Claim your $20 sign-up bonus today. Better Edge, a proud partner of the Sota Pod. All right, ladies and gentlemen. At the time of recording this, the third period has begun for the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers game. I really hope you guys are listening to this in the future. I hope that you are interacting with a happy Isha on Twitter tomorrow and not a sad Isha. Let's freaking go Canucks. You all are amazing. I appreciate you all. Smash that like button on YouTube if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. We post pics of our podcast. We post clips of the podcast every single day, not just our podcast, all of the podcasts under the Sota Pod banner. Every Wednesday, we have live streams. That is right. We stream Judd's Buds, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. If you want to be part of the show, if you want to be part of the live chat, check it out. They answer your questions live. And if you got any questions for Z ahead of time, please send them to him on Twitter. And again, clips from Fellowship of the Rink. Joe Smith from The Athletic has teamed up with Hoppy, and the full episode and clips of all their episodes will be on the YouTube channel as well. So check it out, Sota Pod. And if you want the full experience of the Hoppy Hour on these Sota Pod episodes, please go check out the video. I post the full video of the episodes on our YouTube channel, the Sota Pod. But if you're just a loyal audio listener, if you've been listening to the podcast since the inception of this show and you want to stick to the audio, I thank you 1,000 times. Thank you for your support, and I appreciate everyone watching on YouTube and everyone listening to this show via audio form. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe and comment on the video if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to leave a review and rating on the podcast side of things, as it just helps us get in front of more viewers on YouTube and in front of more listeners on the podcast side of things. But anyways, that's gonna be it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wrap this shit up now. Thank you all for listening. You all are amazing. Signing off, I'm Isha Reviews alongside Seth Toupal. This has been the Sota Pod, presented by our friends at Better Edge, 7th Avenue Pizza, Northland Vodka, and Waggle Golf. Don't fear, just drink some beer and stay wild.